Welcome to the Blue Atlas Trade Show Marketing Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Trade Show Marketing Podcast. And today we're talking about leveraging digital tools for pre-show engagement, more specifically microsites and lead magnets. I got three things for you, and I got some action items for you to take away when we get done with these. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the role of digital tools in pre-show engagement. First, it's very important to have a digital presence in building the anticipation. If you listen to some of our previous shows, we've talked about building that anticipation, sending out pre-show mailers and things of that nature. But you've got to have a digital aspect involved. It's just the nature of the world. I know we're using trade show marketing so that we can get hand-to-hand contact, but people they really don't want to take away the brochures. If they do take away brochures, a lot of times they're not making it home. So you want to have a digital presence. We've also talked about in the past of building that pre-show anticipation. And a big tool for that is going to be a thing like a microsite or a lead magnet. So you want to make sure that you're utilizing effective microsites and not just your website. You don't want to just drive people to your website and say, you go check out our website. We're going to be exhibiting at this show. If it's a prospect that you've already been working, they've already been to your website. They have no reason to go back. And no matter who it is, they don't know where to go on the website. You want to build a microsite that's very specific to the content that you want to show to this audience and specific to this audience. You probably have multiple audiences. This trade show is going to be specific. It's going to either have a specific job role, industry, type of business. There's a reason for the trade show, so you want to have a microsite that is built for that trade show audience. Now let's talk about creating effective microsites. Let's talk about the design. First, you want a design that's consistent with your brand. You want something that when they see it, they go, okay, these are the same people. But consider the backdrop, consider the design of your booth when you're considering the design of your microsite. Some of these people have never seen or heard of you before. In fact, a lot of the traffic has never seen or heard of you before. And so the first impression they're going to get, if they don't get something pre-show, is going to be at the show. And they're going to see your backdrop. They're going to see your brochures that all are hopefully consistent and have a theme. The microsite needs to follow that. In fact, if you have decided to go a route of, say, something really buying into the theme of the show, that's not really kind of on brand for you. Let's say it's, if you've listed some of our examples, like a race car theme, kind of trade show, and you decide to really go all in with that for your trade show display, your microsite can follow that. And that's another reason to have a microsite, because you're going to drive traffic to that either with QR codes in your booth, more information on your flyers and brochures. You can drive them to a microsite that keeps that branding and keeps that theme going, so you keep reinforcing that element. You want to integrate your microsite with your overall event strategy. We've talked about distributing brochures, how you're going to get your promo items, what promo items, and so on. Think about how your microsite falls into that. That might just be that you have QR codes all over your booth. People can scan and they go straight into your microsite. Maybe you've built a calculator, for instance, on this microsite, an estimator, some type of tool that they can use. Instead of having that there and having computers spread all over your booth, you can actually just have a QR code. They scan it, do it on their phone, boom, you get a lead, and they get some value from the lead magnet that you've provided on your microsite. Third point here is developing the lead magnet. We want to talk about the lead magnet piece. The microsite is very useful to share information, but you really should develop some type of lead magnet on your microsite. So before we get ahead of ourselves, what is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is something that you provide value with. Maybe it's a download, maybe it is a calculator, maybe it's an estimator, maybe it's a specific case study, but it's something that you provide a good amount of value to. They want to be very quick to consume. So this is not, hey, read our 200-page book, for instance. This might just be a PDF checklist. It could be a PDF white paper that's, say, 7 to maybe 10 pages long, maybe a little bit longer. It could just be 2 or 3 pages. But when you think lead magnet, because you're giving these away for free, you don't want to give away everything, because then it actually does reduce the value of that lead magnet. You want it to be quick and easy to digest and consume. So when the user gets there, they say, okay, this is a pretty handy little checklist. I'm going to use this checklist next time I'm doing, whatever it is. Next time I'm placing an order, I'll go through the checklist. Or I'm going to use this little estimator. It's real quick. I can put in what I need and it gives me a quick estimate on cost for my materials, or something like that. But your compelling lead magnet, it needs to be attractive to your target audience, but it also needs to be quick and easy to consume. So identify content that attracts this target audience that's really going to apply to them or their job role. You also want to make sure that it's easy to use, say on phones and things of that nature. If it's not something that's real easy to use on a mobile device, then you might want to consider in your booth having computers or laptops around so that you can still provide that lead magnet. You can provide brochures and things for them to take home with them, that they want to scan the QR code or go to the URL. They can access that, but make sure if that is the case, which I highly recommend against, but if that is the case and it needs to be, say, done on a desktop because it's a real full feature piece, make sure you explain that in your materials. So part of your distribution strategy might be making sure that they have a flyer with the URL on it that says, when you get to your desktop, use this tool. And you probably have a little bit more information. If it's that full featured, you really want the prospect, the trade show audience to really use that tool. So you might go more than just hey, go this URL and hope for the best. You might want to actually sell that tool pretty extensively on why they need to use it. So you might have a longer brochure, more information in your brochure to get them to that. All right, so let's recap real quick. Our 3 points of leveraging digital tools for pre-show engagement. We're talking about microsites and lead magnets. Number one, the role of digital tools in your pre-show engagement. It's important to have a microsite leading up to the show and at the show that's on brand, on theme, and consistent for your trade show audience. Consider a lead magnet so that you can capture their information. Just grabbing business cards is great. You might have a fishbowl or something like that. That's great. But when people have to go take an action, you know they're a better qualified prospect for you. So use those lead magnets. Creating effective microsites. Make sure that it's quick, it's easy to work with. You've planned it in your distribution strategy. Your trade show staff knows how the microsite works. It's on brand, it's consistent, works with your theme. Finally, develop a compelling lead magnet. Get some type of tool together that will allow the users to fill something out to make them more of a qualified prospect. All right, let's talk about our today's action items. First, brainstorm ideas for a trade show specific microsite that reflects your brand. If you've done some planning up to this point and you figured out what your promo items are going to be, how your trade show booth is going to look, you've done all of this planning, don't forget the microsite. You're going to want that digital presence that you can rely on before the show and at the show. Number two, design a lead magnet that provides value to your prospective trade show visitors. The audience that's coming, make sure the lead magnet provides value to them. You may already have a lead magnet on your website, and I hope that you do. You should have a lead magnet on your website. But if for it to work on your website, it has to be fairly generic. You might be able to come up with a lead magnet that works better for this specific trade show and this specific trade show's audience. You may market to, say, 5 different industries, but this is an industry-specific trade show. We'll come up with a lead magnet, even if you take maybe your generic one and change it a little bit, transform the language a little bit, so it doesn't take a lot of work. You still want to make it work best for your audience. So when they see that, they go, this is for me, I need that. And finally, develop the plan to integrate these digital tools into your pre-show marketing efforts. So if you're going to send pre-show mailers, pre-show email, pre-show social media, don't forget this microsite and these lead magnets. There's nothing wrong with getting leads from a show before the show starts. There are a lot of people that may go download these things and become a prospect for you, a qualified prospect for you, that you don't see at the show because they didn't get this kind of information from somebody else. They go, no, I already know what those guys can offer me. I've already found out about them. I'm waiting for information from them. I don't need to see them at the show. I need to go see these other people that I think I need to see, but they haven't marketed to me. So make sure you're coordinating and integrating these tools pre-show because you'll start driving leads before you even get to the show. Thanks for joining us today on the Trade Show Marketing Podcast. I'm Nate Stockard. Join us next time.